Starting out with runes, when we're building the AP Kaisa, we want to go Halo Blades. We have a choice of going Boots and Biscuits or Boots and Cosmic. I went Cosmic here because I felt like Twitch usually doesn't poke me that much. Janna also a bit passive in lane, so we can just get away with a scaling rune rather than a rune that helps in lane. Swain is kind of a good character, has some CC, but it really depends on if the Swain lands or not. And the scaling is pretty good too. Against Janna, I think there are definitely tools Janna can use to push him off, but I think Janna can definitely get one shot before that happens. The compositions look pretty good. I have a form of CC on every one of my teammates, so that's like a condition that Kaisa really likes. After leashing, we want to secure level 2, so we want to use Q to push. I miss a couple of minions, which is really sad, but the idea is there. I get poked by Janna, but it's not too bad. Now I know I have a 2 minion advantage. I press Q again for a bit more push. By the time I'm level 2, I should be able to get the Q again. So if Swain lands ability, I can land W and I can land Q. Even though Swain missed, I can still land W, and since I'm level 2 versus level 1, it's gonna hurt a lot more. There's a little bit of a lull time, so with the extra fun time, we can use it to ward. Make yourself feel a little bit safe. There's a ward on Raptors, so it either means Kindred will be bot lane really soon, or she's on her top side. So I do feel relatively safe to keep pushing and keep pressuring. Remember, we want to look for the opportunity with Swain, and Swain is the one that initiates it. We are the follow-up. So this is a pretty ideal position because you're slightly ahead of the halfway mark and you have slightly more minions than the enemy. If the enemy has more minions, if this was reversed, then Swain might have a hard time hitting through the minions. Here he has a lot of free space and the enemy has to walk up to CS, so it becomes really obvious for Swain, or at least it makes it easier for him. This early game is going pretty well. I think both sides took quite a bit of poke. One W hit really will just do a big chunk. I was pretty happy about this. This is where Biscuits might help, but since I get the crash, I can reset. I think I cancel the base because we want to help with Kindred, but it turns out to be a bad fight anyways. The delayed recall is still okay. Since it's a cannon wave, they can't really push. Swain ends up trying to do a bit more. I think we were not on the same page, and he was doing a little bit of protecting on me, which is a hero moment, but ultimately a little bit unnecessary, and he burned flash. That's okay though. Happens. I think his heart was in the right place. Now we're just farming under tower and just making sure we get all the XP. This is also a place where we can also land W to try to stop the Twitch. Swain used his W to stop, so it's already really good. On this wave, sometimes we can slow push and sometimes we can fast push. Here I think we're more focused on trying to stop his recall more than anything. Once we stopped his recall, we're gonna hard push so he has to react. This wave won't go all the way in, so we're just gonna partner and use this wave and the next wave to make a big crash. So with the crash, we can do another recall, or we can pressure the Twitch under his tower. Janna's mid, so in my head, we want to dive the Twitch and make sure he loses all of these minions. Oh my god, I missed cannon, that's so sad. Okay, Twitch stayed, which means that we can just fight. See, notice I pinged, and also I made sure my Swain knew that we were going for it, and we're on the same page. Sometimes we won't ping or be hesitant. I think you just have to count the numbers. 2 versus 1, gotta be a win. Janna was top, she's back. She can't do anything about it. Look at this beautiful 2-wave crash that Twitch will lose all of, which is also resulting in a tower plating. So we got the best of both worlds. Like, we wanted to do a reset, which we got, and we also wanted to kill Twitch and pressure him, which we also got a 2 for 1. Now the AP build ramps up a bit slow. We kind of have to go mana immune first. You could go static, but it's a little less ideal because it spikes even later. The 2-item spike is not really there on that build. For this one, we complete the mana immune, still pretty weak, but once we have 2-item with the Luden, we can start doing a bit of damage. It's also ideal if they're like mostly squishy. A bunch of times I've tried to kill like big tanks, you barely dent them. After the nerfs a year ago, Kaisa's W does a lot less max health damage. You really need to hit a couple of them. Or partner it with CC. Kaisa's a bit of a hybrid character, so you have a choice. In this game I saw they were mostly squishy, so AP Kaisa made sense. You only need to really think about the AP stacking champions, like Mundo. Here I want to keep pressuring them and get an isolated Q and Janna, which is really good. Your trade pattern is always auto Q with the isolation ideally. Oh, having a bit of fun. So in lane, Twitch is pretty good to deal with, but the one thing Kaisa doesn't like is when other people just outrange her and she's not able to hit. Caitlyn, Ashe, all kind of bully her in lane. Twitch kind of does similar things when he has ultimate. So we're just gonna keep pressuring them. And looks like Volley wants to go for a dive potentially, which could be really good. We already dove this Twitch once. I'm sure he has some PTSD. And we take a turret hit for fun. Really looking for that 300 gold so we can finish mana immune. That could be 2 or 3 waves. But our Swain takes like half our wave. Sadness. So probably 3. Gold generation's not too bad. Plus the plating. The health looks kind of bad, but we got Volibear to help us. And we only need like 2 or 3 minions, honestly. So I'm pinging back because it's pretty aggressive. We've been here for a while. They could just 4-man. Start doing some roam moves of their own. Anivia generally doesn't roam that much though. But we're happy. We got the mana immune. Able to reset. We crashed the wave earlier, so Twitch has to hard push and make sure it crashes on his side. He's a sneaky boy. Volibear couldn't find him. The game is quite even overall, but in bot lane, we're winning really big. Now once we get the tower, we can influence the map more by keeping the push, or we can go mid and roam. Roam for kills. Kaisa's one of the best roamers with her ult. She can dash from a pretty far distance. And of course we need a CC or to land W in order to use our ultimate. After we spend, we can look for the next step. We could have gone mid, but we were pushing the wave a little more. So here we have the choice of going mid or bot, but since Talia is still mid, we're gonna continue farming and gaining advantage through XP and levels. Swain is roaming, so all of this XP is pouring into the tower and giving solo XP to me, which is good days. Looks like a bad fight mid. A bit unfortunate. I'm freezing it a little bit so I can be safe, as well as make Twitch lose as many minions as possible. We see that Kindred is top, and she died to the Renekton, so we can push up now. The only person that's a threat is Twitch and or Janna. You know, Janna's a threat. And she's mid, so I'm pretty confident to just keep walking up and potentially even 1v1ing the Twitch. Looks like mid was getting a bit pushed in, so just hanging out, thinking if we should go mid or we should go bot. Looks like we were gonna find Janna anyways, and find Anivia, so we gotta back the hell up. Like, was it me fighting them, or did they find me? Who was trying to kill who? It ends up me being safe, which is like the best case scenario. That's why we save our abilities, spells like Flash and Ghost for backwards instead of going forwards. Looking back, I didn't really need to base here, but it wasn't a good situation anyways. Like, there was no way we were supposed to fight that. Walking up to the wave was impossible because Anivia and Janna were both in the way. I could have just walked mid. It would have been about the same. See, Volibear was trying to fight and he ended up dying. Bot was not an option. At the end of the day, it's mostly a numbers game. At least that's the most consistent play. Now that everyone has shown up, we're all in this drag area, we can fight. Renekton's also one of the stronger characters, and he's fast. See Twitch. So I end up going in when I get the Twitch. It was not very worth. A little bit of an oopsie, a bit of an overextension. That's what happens when we use our abilities a little bit too aggressively rather than defensively. Jump into a bunch of people, including 11 and 2 Kindred. Yikes. Okay, Renekton. Doing a bit of murder. It ends up being a disaster and everyone dies. Bit of a facepalm moment, but not irrecoverable. Just the first death. The more deaths we can reduce, the more time we have to farm and do more important things. Collecting side waves are pretty important. Talia just telling me to side wave, and I'm okay with that. Kaisa, Vayne, these champions are really good at side laning because their 1v1 potential's there with the Q isolated from Kaisa, and the just invisibility and general kit of Vayne makes her extremely good at 1v1. Not that other carries can't do this. You could do it just to a lesser degree, or you just have to back up a little bit earlier and have a little bit more cautious mind. Here we can fight a bit and If I'm a bit confident, we can go for a fight if it's a 1v1. Or you just have to back up a little bit earlier and have a little bit more cautious mind. Here we can fight a bit, and if I'm a bit confident, we can go for a fight if it's a 1v1.
Rainbows fall away. Rainbows fall away. See the rainbows fall away.
Nivea takes the tower, but we are still able to keep pushing after she leaves and goes mid. We could follow her, but we gotta resist the urge to fight permanently and try to get our 2-item spike. We are ready for that 2-item buy, but since our team is fighting, we can keep pressuring alongside them, and the only threat is Twitch, and I'm pretty confident we can fight. He shows up, and it's not even close. Could still use my 2 spells, not that they were combat spells, but flashing behind him, flashing after him, all good options. Another tip, keep getting more resources, getting more fed, eating good, feeding yourself. After our overextension mid, it's obvious that we need to just back up. Fortunately, our team doesn't back up and keeps going, and actually win. So, with that, we're able to push another wave and gain more money. If we weren't so aggressive mid, we definitely wouldn't go for this wave as well. We were able to purchase a lot of things and make it to dragon in around like 10 more seconds. Right? Dragons in 10 seconds, and we'll make it there in time. The Kindred died. Happy days. We definitely wouldn't go for this wave as well. We were able to purchase a lot of things and make it to dragon in around like 10 more seconds. Right? Dragons in 10 seconds, and we'll make it there in time. The Kindred died. Happy days. After a little bit of dilly-dallying, we get the Drake. Our team's in a good position, so we didn't really need to be overly involved. After getting the Drake, we're going back to the happy place, bot lane. Talia always wants to roam and do her crazy fancy stuff, but we want to be consistent and get like 10 CS per minute ideally. We're getting there, but if we don't get more camps, like jungle camps, we won't get there. And if we don't take every single wave like we are now. Seems like everyone's really distracted and no one really cares. These are the best games as ADC because you can kind of be a bit of a ninja. The enemy realized that I'm a threat, so they kind of chased me down. Using Ghost is pretty good, and Janna just overstepped, and I one-shot her. So the build is coming along pretty well now. And I get to fight another... Ooh, close. My second W missed, but... You can see the power of just landing one W on a squishy. It can do quite a bit. And if you hit your passive, like 3 or 4 more autos afterwards, depending on how much CC, you can definitely dish out a lot of damage that people won't expect. Lining it up. Missed. And it's okay to miss. You can't hit 100% of the shots all the time. Give yourself some grace. Tempting. So now that we have Crypto Blue, that's the core build. Manamune, Ludens, Crypto Blue. Going for this ring allows us to stack and potentially get Medjais. Team is a little over aggressive, but it seems like they're handling themselves pretty well. So, pretty happy. I want to like sneak a couple W's in before we go Baron, and I end up getting caught. Got outranged by Twitch and didn't really see where he went. Or even where he came from. Just appeared out of nowhere. Twitch, hiding again, but without the ultimate, he's a lot weaker. Get the double kill. We just keep landing these nukes. Okay, maybe not that one, but hoping to land these nukes. To Ap Kaisa's not the best at taking Baron, but it's doable. Usually you want to be the one that's not on Baron, because you could land a bunch of W's on them. They're kind of in a locked position, and W's hurt once they stack up. Looks like Aatrox wants to be aggressive. Since we have our ultimate, get bailed out by the dash and shield. So even though we're like 1 HP, as long as we're able to land W's, we can contribute to the fight. That's one strength that also other ADCs might be out of the fight and need to lifesteal or kind of recall. In the case of Kaisa, if you're super low and you're playing AP, you can just sit really far back and play kind of like a Xerath. Now on the way to bot lane, we want to collect some farm. Not too much though, because we want to keep our tempo up and not just focus on our side of the map. Usually getting top or bottom turret is a bit easier than mid, especially when there's someone like Anivia. She's just gonna put her storm on the floor, and once her storm's on the floor, we can't really push with that wave. So ideally 1 person or 2 people mid, usually 1 and then 4 bot, so we can push that 1 tower, would be ideal. I think my team doesn't really want to do that, I just want to group. I think probably a little bit having fun here and trying to land W rather than playing perfectly. I think Talia wants to play perfectly, but I just want to land W's. Being a bit greedy, but being honest. I can serve as a distraction, but getting towers is definitely more valuable. Okay. I think Talia eventually gets the turret, so that's still a win for us, and we get the Drake. More objectives on objectives. this point we're pretty fed with 4 items, so we just want to look for a bunch of sniping opportunities if they present themselves. Sieging, having control of their entire jungle, pretty good time. So I also have to give props to my team and support for being so aggressive and putting down those wards. After getting red, we're ready to fight again. And it's my time to shine. Talia lands a really good W, and I'm able to just collect it. Beautiful. The cooldown now is pretty low, so even if I miss, every couple seconds it's up. Keep in mind that having a lead is pretty important. Once you're behind, it's hard to play like this, or even sometimes even have an impact versus Twitch. So it's important to keep that lead, and if you have or get that lead, then keep it. Do a little bit of all in. At this point, our champ is quite strong, and if we take the fight slowly, there's no way we will lose. Only when we rush and take the fight too quickly and get bursted, that's where we lose. That's where we suffer. You know, just on the very edge, the outskirts, making Anivia flash, pretty positive. Now getting the inhib is a big pressure point, and we want to get more, so the left and the right, top and the bot. That's what we're going for next. On the recall we have an item, and now we can pressure top lane. After pushing the waves, we can regroup and get Baron again, and pressure one of the side waves together as a team. We actually didn't get mid with the Baron, which is quite good. Now that I see that our team wants to go bot, I want to keep the tempo up by pressuring both the sides. This is my decision to become the top laner, and split push myself. It's important to be brave and identify these waves to be sources of income as well as XP. Mostly the XP part. You see that a bunch of people are walking bot, so the fight might happen bot. Someone might come top, and that's why I'm being a bit cautious and being in the bush instead of hitting the wave. But once I see most of the enemy team show up, that's my green light. Right? Baron is not for fighting. Even though you get like an advantage with your like AD and AP, it's still better to just go for towers because you buff your minions and it's way stronger on the minions than you. Look at him go. And while we're pressuring, we're making the enemy a little bit worried. Anivia had to recall. Twitch is thinking of fighting me, and I'm just trying to play right on that fine line of being close to the enemy and not dying. Being close to the enemy, hitting their towers, hitting them. Doing a little bit of dance on this Aatrox. See, that slow fight makes the win easy. I missed the W too. I don't think I played that particularly well, but Aatrox was impatient. If he just backed off, I would never kill him, but his aggression makes his movements quite obvious. Now we got the full build, and there's nothing else we can ask for. If we don't win this game, it's kind of on us, right? We got all the money, we got all the gold. Those are the same thing. We just love it that much, that's how much we want to talk about it. Talk about it twice. 20 stacks of Medjai's not too shabby. I think our mid doesn't have any supers anymore, so we're back on the job of clearing. Easy way you can look for where the minions are, just look at your own minions. I've done it a couple times this game, but through the minimap you can also tell. The home stretch. Pressuring Olivia is kind of pointless, but it allows for the other 2 points to be a little bit easier to deal with. Let's say it seems a bit pointless, but it allows the other lanes to be pressured. Like the one that's facing Anivia is the one that won't progress. There's still a chance that they also clear the side waves, but Anivia's just the wave killer god. I think we're getting a bit impatient here. We're being a little aggro with the positioning. Once we wait for everyone, this is a good place to be. The ball of death. Everyone grouped together 5v5. Hit 2 Ws and they're out of the fight. Sieging with Kaisa is powerful. I kind of wanted to keep going top, but Aatrox wanted to push and be over aggressive yet again. Sometimes if we just catch the person that is doing a little bit of a goof, that just leads to the win. That's not how we really want to win, but I think that's just the reality. The chain of int is quite powerful. When you're not as coordinated, okay, dashing through the side to assassinate the Twitch. Yeah, the end of this game I think is pretty self-explanatory. Try to land some W's and hit the structures. Getting to Ears where we kind of have our downfall, which actually we didn't get both the Nexus turrets, but we'll be back for them. Yeah, looks like our team was a bit too aggressive and we couldn't match that. That's okay. Don't feel like you have the need to throw 1,000 gold away to compensate for what your teammates did, because that's just adding to the hurt. Now I thought that since they're so squishy, going Shadow Flame could help and execute them rather than just Crypto Bloom, because I didn't feel that much value from the heal, and also I didn't think the penetration was quite needed, since Shadow Flame also gives penetration and also gives the execute. Thought that since they're so squishy, going Shadow Flame could help and execute them rather than just Crypto Bloom, because I didn't feel that much value from the heal, and also I didn't think the penetration was quite needed, since Shadow Flame also gives penetration and also gives the execute. Now that we have full items and that we're gonna get the third Baron, we should just cleanly close it out by going top lane together and just taking all the towers. See how we methodically went from mid, bot, then top. And there were some like fights where we could have just straight out, flat out won the game, but we unfortunately lost those fights. We still can fall back on this 1, 2, 3 killing all the inhib style macro, which is what ADC likes to do anyways, which is take towers and play the side so we gain a lot of resources. Now we're giving the enemy team the ultimatum. Do you want your base or do you want Elder? And if we get Elder, we're gonna get your base anyways. So they're in a really difficult position and we're in the driver's seat. If I land a couple more abilities, we can just take all the towers for free. Whenever they split up their damage like this, 3 people in base, 2 people at the dragon, we give the enemy a hard choice, and in this case we want both sides. We want in base and also we want at the Drake. Sometimes just winning one is good enough. Even if I die here, my team should have Elder since they won the Elder fight, and they'll be able to end. Or they overcommit and the enemy gets Elder, but I will get the base. So hopefully this was informational to you, and I hope you learned something. I will be streaming on twitch.tv/ChuniTV every day. See you there.